Hi, I'm Marcyline Bailey, and I am the owner of ML Bailey Consultants Incorporated and the originator of the Happy Half Hour Support Network for social workers and those in the helping professions. I am here today to talk about something that is very pertinent to those of us who work in the field of social work, and that is stress at work. I started the Happy Half Hour Support Network in order to provide supportive services to social workers and those in the helping professions, as well as to provide a system of support from other social workers who work in the field. This will be a virtual support network, and you will find resources online at my website www.yourhappyhalfhour.com. I'm glad you came to watch this video because I want to share with you some of the techniques that I have used to relieve stress, particularly when I'm making a transition from work to home. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself before I get started. I am a licensed clinical social worker and also a member of the Academy of Certified Social Workers. I also am certified as a school social worker here in the state of Georgia. I earned my Master's of Social Science Administration from Case Western Reserve Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1992. In 1992, I began working in the mental health field, and I loved it. It was a new experience for me, but it was also my introduction to the most stressful situations that anyone could ever imagine. When I became a case manager in 1992, I was new, of course, to mental health. I had earned my master's in social work, and I was working towards licensure as a licensed independent social worker in the state of Ohio. Being a caseworker in mental health is very different for individuals if they've never experienced mental health. I met people who had severe illness, people with schizophrenia, people with bipolar disorder, people who had severe addictions. And of course, because I felt very concerned about their well being, I found myself taking home a lot of stress. I would go home in the evening and worry about the people that I was working with. I worried about how they were doing. I worried if they were eating properly. I worried if they were in a warm place, had a warm place to sleep. I also worried if someone was taking advantage of them. We're not able to know all of those things in our profession. We only are able to know what is shared with us. A very wise social worker I worked with took me aside and said to me, "What did they do before you knew them?" I thought that was a very poignant question because I had never considered that. I never considered that these people who were my clients had a life before I became their case manager. But of course they did. She asked me that several times as I sat there dumbfounded. She said, "What did they do before you knew them?" And I couldn't answer her. She looked at me with a very stern look and a very serious tone in her voice, and she said, "They lived. What you need to understand is these people are probably the most resilient and the strongest people that you'll ever meet. I took that to heart because I, as a new case manager in mental health, only saw their disability. I only saw their struggle. I didn't consider that they had strength to deal with their disability on a daily basis and to deal with the ramifications of that disability. When she said that to me, she also added, "You have to leave your work at work." What a novel concept. Now, 20 years later, I am just learning to leave my work at work. And I know that there are social workers out there who struggle with that even today. We have to learn to leave our work at work. Now, I understand that that is in almost impossible with the caseloads that we have, with the requirements that our agencies put on us, but it is very important if we are to manage our health and our own well-being. That is one of the key reasons that I started the Happy Half Hour Support Network for social workers and those in the helping professions. One of the things that I will be able to provide for you are webinars and helpful information on how to leave work at work. Let me share something that I learned to do when I was a case manager in mental health 20 years ago. I needed to come up with a transition routine. And please remember that term because that's a term that I advocate when I'm speaking to social workers and when I'm mentoring social workers through the Happy Half Hour program. I talk about a transition routine. From the time we leave work to the time we get home, we need to be able to manage the emotions that we've experienced at work. We need to chill out, so to speak, in a healthy way. We need to dispense with some of that pent-up energy that's being held in our muscles. A transition routine will aid us in moving from work to home by allowing us to go home with a positive attitude, a positive outlook. We will be able to manage the demands at home as we should, as well as be able to bring ourselves into a state of relaxation that's important for us to get a good night's sleep. One of the things that I began to do when I left work and on my way home was, and it just kind of happened this way. I had a very, very rough day at work one day. And at 5 o'clock, I walked to my car in the parking garage. I got in my car, and the first thing I did was I let out a loud scream. It went something like this. Whoa! Well, I felt relief. Well, of course I did. I took in a deep breath and I let out a loud sigh, which allowed me to relieve myself of some of the toxins that were in my lungs. It also allowed me to loosen some of the muscles tension that I was holding in my shoulders and in my back. That was an eye-opener for me. And I started doing that every day. Once I let that loud sigh out, I could drive away and literally leave my work at work. So this is something that I want you to try. And I know it may sound silly and people may look at you like, what's going on with you? But try it. I think it will help. When you get to your car, or even before you get to your car, take a deep breath, inhale so that your diaphragm is moving up, so that your stomach is extended, and then let it out as if you're letting go of a balloon. Let that air out like a rush. Try it with me. Whoo! Feel how the tension is relieved in your shoulders. Feel how your body relaxes. Feel how the tension in your neck is released. Now, you may need to do that more than one time. That's okay. The point is, you do it when you're leaving work. This is the beginning of your transition home. I'd like for you to practice that. Try practicing it every day. And once you practice it and you find that it works, continue to do it because it will help you with that transition. I will have more tips on transitioning from work to home so you can leave your work at work. In the meantime, I invite you to return and look for more interviews with social workers and those in the helping professions. I also want to invite you to go to www.yourhappyhalfhour.com and sign up to receive more information about relaxation, to receive our weekly blog, which is called the Happy Half Hour Weekly, also to receive notices of webinars that you will be able to attend to help you to learn to relax and to leave work at work. You will also find on our website information and resources for social workers and those in the helping professions. So, thank you for joining me. My name is Marcyline Bailey, and I'm happy to have you with us at the Happy Half Hour. Thank you, and have a good rest of the day.